We are live. Good evening and welcome to the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. I am Reverend Sherry James, Senior Minister of Understanding Principles for Better Living Church, and I am so excited to be here. We are in the midst of a powerful series on gratitude. And this is a quick one for us. Normally our series are quite a bit longer, but I wanted to do something quick right before Christmas, kind of fill up that break right before we take a break. Next week is our last class before the holiday, and then we're back on January 5th. And when we come back, we're going to do Eric Butterworth's book, Discover the Power Within You. But this three-part series, we're working with Pam Grout's Think and Grow Rich, which is an awesome text. This woman really put her foot in it, and you'll see. And we're just kind of following the outline of the book. She has the book divided into three parts, so we're treating it as a three-part series. Part one, part two, part three. Part one we did last week. So I am going to encourage you, if you haven't read the book, to pick up a copy. I understand that it is actually on sale on Kindle for $1.99. I think that sale is still going on, at least right now. And so I encourage you to get your own copy. Or if you're like me and you're still tactile and like to put your hands on a book, you can get a fresh copy from Amazon. And tonight we're doing chapter 4 and chapter 5. So that's what we're concentrating on tonight. Let me pull up my PowerPoint. I'm going to mute a couple folk. All right. Uh-oh, it looks like we lost Ray. Olga says, good evening, family. Eve says, hello, everyone. It is cold in Chicago. I do not understand y'all living in Chicago with that cold weather. That is, I love you, but that's crazy to me. That is, I don't understand it. I don't. Phyllis says, good night, each and every one. You know what it is? So I went to school on the East Coast, and I froze for the 7 years that I was there. And it was 7 years of like, oh my God, this is so crazy that people live like this. Alita says, it's what we know. It's just deep to me. It's so deep. It's absolutely deep. All right. Let's get into it. So the thing that I wanted to really jump into tonight, and I'm really excited about, because I feel like Pam really did something remarkable with these two, with the book in general, but these two chapters in particular. And what we're going to be talking about tonight, the question we're answering is, how do you cultivate the feeling of wealth? And so that's what the entire night is about. How do you cultivate the feeling of wealth? And I think you'll understand more, those of you that understand how important feeling is to receiving your demonstration. We're going to talk about, how do you cultivate that? How do you develop that feeling of wealth? Our outline's pretty straight ahead. Got some announcements, opening prayer, why gratitude matters. Feeling is the key to true wealth. We're going to talk about some of the mental blocks that we need to release that are blocking our ability to feel wealthy. And then we're going to talk about 5 investments that stir up an internal feeling of wealth. And then we'll take Q&A. And of course, you can ask questions throughout. I want you to ask questions throughout. What's your why? Why the Bible Hangout? Why every week? And why free? Well, interestingly enough, the why is what we're talking about tonight, which is, what is that thing that you do that you would do whether you were being paid for it or not? And that's really, for me, it's this opportunity to talk to you, to connect with you, to share things that I'm studying, and then the feedback that you give me. I got an incredible email today from Dan, I think is her name, that just, it like warmed my heart, and it was like, this is why I do it. This is why I do it, because this is my gift mix. Like, this is like right in my wheelhouse where I love teaching, and there is this high that I get, and it really doesn't even matter what I'm teaching. And I mean that seriously. Like, this is my area that I love to teach, which is the Bible and anything regarding spiritual topics. But I remember the last job that I worked, and I had to do some training for the callers that I was responsible for, and getting them up to speed on the process and all of that. And I designed this entire training program, and I walked them through it, and there was just this high that I had, like it's like a euphoria. And I knew at that moment, it was like, whatever I do next, because at that point I wasn't minister, I wasn't anything, I was just in seminary and figuring this thing out, is that it has to have something to do with teaching, because I was more alive than I think I've ever been in that job that I thought was only going to be a temporary job that ended up being there, 4 years. So there's something to teaching that thing. So that's why this is this is fun for me. This is my playtime, and I organize my life so that I'm available to play with y'all on Thursday nights. It is free to you, but it is not free to produce. And so if this moves you, if you receive something that makes your life better, if you would consider making a gift, you can go right to revsherry.com and make a gift, and it is greatly appreciated. And I thank you in advance for that. And I'm grateful for it. Thank you so much. The way that this series works is that there's a blog, there's the Bible Hangout, and there's the Gratitude Challenge. So part of this is the 21-day gratitude challenge. Today is day 11 of the 21-day gratitude challenge. And I understand there were some people who were posting their gratitude on the wall, but the wall wasn't showing up. And that just meant your comments were in moderation. And I think for everybody, at least we went in yesterday, if there are any new comments, I have to go in and check. But we approved all of the comments that had been in moderation. So you should see your gratitude posted on the wall. And the way that the series works is we're doing this 3-part teaching series. But then what you do is every morning you wake up and you say, something insanely amazing is going to happen to me today. You start there. And then the second thing is that you kind of move like a detective, like you start looking for clues, like you set up the expectation in your heart that something great is going to happen for you. And not just that, but also that you believe in miracles and blessings for yourself. And then the third thing is that you list 3 things that you're grateful for. And I like the idea of communal, but sometimes you want to be private with your gratitude, so you could just keep it to yourself. But if you're feeling comfortable sharing what you're grateful for, we set up a wall at upchurch.org/gratitude, and you post your gratitude there. So that's part of the challenge. That's the way this series is working. And even just reading the wall, all the gratitude that's on there is powerful and transformative. And it's reminding me of things that I need to be grateful for that I just hadn't even consciously thought about. So it's inspiring me to express gratitude in ways that I hadn't expressed. And one other thing is that the gratitude that you express needs to be unique every day. So if you're grateful for your mama on Monday, you're done for the 21 days. Not that you're not grateful for her, but you're expressing gratitude for something else. So you can't be grateful for your mama every day, not on the wall at least. You should be in your life, but not on the wall. Okay. Panorama of Truth is coming. And here's the thing, you can set up a payment plan. There are 2 ways to set up a payment plan. You can connect with the Universal Foundation for Better Living and set up your payment plan, or you can call us here at the church and set up your payment plan. And either way, your room will be secure, and you'll be able to pay toward it in whatever way you want to. If you decide, I'm gonna make 10 uneven payments, but I'm gonna get it all in by May 31st. Cool. If you say, I'm gonna make 2 payments and I'm gonna get it all in by May 31st, cool. However you get it all in, you're able to do that. And so the church office here is area code 310-412-7729. Or you can call the Universal Foundation for Better Living in Miami Gardens, Florida. The conference is August 9th through the 13th. We will be staying at the Hyatt Ziva Rhodes Hall in Montego Bay, Jamaica. And nothing I tell you is going to oversell this conference. I really do mean that. It's that good. It's that good. And so I can't wait to be there. And my goal is that there are a combination of 25 people between the folks from the Bible Hangout, unaffiliated with UFBL, right? Because a lot of UFBL folk are on here, unaffiliated with UFBL, and Up Church are going. So that's my thing. I know we got 25 people that we can pull from Up Church and from the extended family from the Bible Hangout, and we all go, meet up in Montego Bay, Jamaica. So I am looking forward to seeing you there. I'm looking forward to having a good time with you. And I'm looking forward to us just owning that, that resort. Yvonne says, I emailed UFBL and haven't received a reply. Yvonne, you can work with us and do your payment plan. I'll explain to you offline how we're handling it, but we literally just forward the payments directly on to UFBL. But you can set up your payment plan with us, and then that way, you always have a direct line to me if you can't get somebody on the line. So call me. I think you have my cell phone. I won't say that online. I don't want to get a bunch of phone calls like that. The church office, though, is 310-412-7729, 310-412-7729. And it's really one of those things, just get started. Just put down $10 and then put down another $10 and just keep going until you fulfill the payment. You just don't know when you set the intention, so many amazing things have the ability to happen. And so if you just set the intention with $1, just get it going, get it started. Oh, y'all did it. Y'all did it. I have to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So last night we delivered the blankets, and I haven't put an email together because we're getting ready for our Christmas breakfast on Saturday morning. So I'm kind of juggling a few things. So once I get just a little bit of window, I'm gonna create an email so I can send you and show you what happened. Oh, I don't want to eat up too much class time, but I got to just say, y'all rock. So we had the goal of 250. We actually gave over 150 between blankets and cash. And it was such a testament to so many things, but there was a point at which there were probably maybe about 30 blankets in the office, and then there were and about $100 that had been donated online. And so I was like, okay, you know what, this is respectable. We're gonna hand them probably about 50 blankets. Oh, you know what? I'm good. I'm grateful. I reached for the stars and I landed at 50. I'm going to be grateful because we only had a week and we did everything that we knew to do inside that week. And I'm literally sitting right here, and outside the window, the blinds are open and a truck backs up. And I see the truck. And this building is the first Lutheran Evangelical Church of Inglewood, California. So I just knew, oh no, can you guys not hear me? Oh no. How's my sound? How's everybody go? Come on. I need you to be nice to me. Be nice to me, microphone. How am I sounding, guys? Can you hear me good? No? Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna just be still because I think it may be a cord issue. I think that's what's happening. So anyway, I'm literally sitting here, and outside this window, a truck backs in, and I see the truck. Gosh, that's a lot of static. All right, Spirit. Yeah, it's the cord. It's the cord. Okay. I don't have another cord that fits this, so we're gonna have to make this happen. Or, you know what I will do? I will get rid of this. I will get rid of this microphone entirely. Okay. Can you guys hear? I gotta change my microphone. Hold on. Oh, okay. So you guys should be able to hear me. You can hear me? No. Okay, Francine says you can hear me. Okay, so yeah, there's a short in the cord. How are we doing? You can hear me, Constance? Okay, great. All right. So it's not the microphone, it's the cord. Okay, I need to get a new cord. Anyway, so hold on, get that out the way. So this truck literally like backs up to the thing, and I see it. I see these boxes coming out, and I've seen boxes like that before come here, and I thought maybe, you know, First Lutheran had ordered some toilet tissue or something like that. I was like, okay, cool. And I get up to go answer the door. Pastor V is here, and he walks to the door with me, and I turn around and come back because I'm thinking, you know, that's for First Lutheran. He'll tell them where to put it. And he said, Sherry James, and I'm like, what? And there were literally 20 blankets. And it was like, okay, faith restored. Let's push this video around harder. Let's just get out there. And literally, I was literally, I burst into tears. Like, just, I didn't even know what to do. Like, oh my God. And it was one of those places, like, you know that God is big, but it's still, when it happens, it just catches you off guard. And so I was looking online because I can see the donations that we received. And at that point, we received like $130, and the number wasn't moving. And I was like, okay, well, maybe people are not responding to the ad. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything that came in because, you know, we're a small church. On a Sunday, we have 45 people here. We couldn't have done that on our own. You know, between all of us, we wouldn't have been able to pull all of this off. We needed that extended family helping us to like deliver these blankets. And so I saw the $30, and I was like, okay, all right, God, you know what? I'm not gonna be mad. I'm gonna learn my lesson. I'm gonna get better next time because you made me a giver. And so it is the day before we have to deliver the blankets, and I don't know what happened. Something said, look at the filter. And I was filtering the donations incorrectly, meaning that I was looking through November 30th as opposed to through December 7th. And actually, $485 had come through. I was out, I tell you, just out. So I raced out the door to like Walmart. I found these really nice warm blankets at Walmart for $6. And I bought every one that I could buy. And so I think after I bought everything that was available, we still had about like $215 left over. And so we wrote a check to the Inglewood Foundation for the rest of the money. And then last night we went to deliver them. Now, we were one of a few community groups that was delivering blankets. And I cannot tell you the euphoria of walking in there and bag after bag after bag after bag after bag of blankets. And the other groups, again, they may have given money, I have no idea. But they brought like 1 or 2 blankets. And it's like, yeah, somebody's baby is on the street tonight. Like this, to me, that was like swing into action, clear this, right? Until we can affect policy and change what put people on the street in the first place, which that's a whole other political discussion. Let's make sure people are warm. Like this means something. Anyway, it felt so good. So there's no way that we could have done this by ourselves. We did this because of you guys. And so I thank you. So just give me, a few minutes to get the email together. When I got to get through the Christmas breakfast, or at least get a handle on that, and then I'll work on that email and get that out to you guys. Because we took video and pictures and all kinds of stuff. Constance says, "I have something for you to hear." What you got? What you got, Constance? Uh-oh. Can you not unmute yourself? Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Unmute yourself if you're still on that. Oh, there you are. Constance. It's a round of applause. Oh. I went out and found a round of applause and standing over. It's really, y'all. It really is. I'm grateful for you guys. You guys really, you did it. You did it. And so we delivered over 150 blankets plus cash, a combination. And on Tuesday, we're actually going to go to a luncheon where I don't know if the blankets will be presented at the luncheon, but it's a luncheon with the families who are going to receive the blankets. So I will actually get an opportunity to meet the families that we are giving the blankets to on Tuesday next week. So excited about that. I just had to share that with you because, the thrill of giving. Okay, whew, the scripture. In everything, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. And this is 1 Thessalonians 5:8. In everything, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. And so we just take a moment. This is our opening prayer. We just relax, let go, and let God. And just recognize that there is only one power and there is only one presence. And that power and presence is God, the good, omnipotent, the everywhere evenly present spirit of absolute good. This energy intelligence indwells each of us. It makes each of us who we are. Though we express as different personalities, we are all one in spirit. And that spirit has no name, it has no gender, it has no sexual orientation, it has no thing except absolute good. And that is who we really are, absolute good. I bless tonight's conversation. I thank you for everything that will be shared this evening. And I thank you for every overcoming, every breakthrough. Let the games begin. In the name and nature of Jesus the Christ, we affirm that it is so, and so it is. And amen. Okay, why gratitude matters. Gratitude matters because gratitude expressed restores you to your natural frequency of lavish abundance. Your natural frequency is lavish abundance. That is who you naturally are at your core. You see that with babies. They draw everything that they need. If they need attention, they're pulling it. They don't even have a language. You don't even know what they're saying. Trust me, I got a 3-year-old. I have no idea what he's saying most of the time. But they draw to them exactly what they need, even though they don't even have a language the way that we think about language. They have an ability to communicate and to get their needs met. Your natural state is lavish abundance. Gratitude restores you to your natural state. And this is why I said last week that your life reflects the degree to which you are grateful. And the degree to which you are grateful determines the degree to which you express the lavish abundance of God. And so if you can imagine gratitude as this gentle knife, if you will, that cuts a hole in the atmosphere around you and opens the way for more good to pour out of you into expression. You have things in you that have yet to be expressed. People whose lives you're meant to impact, things you're meant to do for other people, ways that you're meant to improve the planet. All of this is in you. All of us have multiple game changers within us that have yet to be expressed. Gratitude is the way to let it out. There is a poem which is in the first chapter of Eric Butterworth's Discover the Power Within You, and it's an excerpt from Robert Browning's Paracelsus. And he talks about the imprisoned splendor, that there is this light within us, and it is the light of the world, same as Jesus talked about. And this light is like an imprisoned splendor. And it is not so much about us opening up to let God in, so much as us opening up to let God out into expression, to release this light in form. And as we express gratitude, the light takes on better and better forms in our experience. Everything in our experience is the light expressed. Gratitude transforms it into better and better forms. And so this is why gratitude matters, that it restores you to your natural equilibrium, which is lavish abundance. And how do I know that it's lavish abundance? And I stress that word lavish because you can look at how the Spirit expresses everywhere else in the universe. plants, the trees, the air, the number of cells in your body, the number of times your eyes blink, the number of times your heart beats during the day, the number of different people on the planet. Everything that the Spirit does, when allowed to express, is done in lavish abundance. Lavish abundance. And because we speak about God as the unchanging absolute good, that means that when the Spirit expresses through you, at least in intention, it wants to come through you in lavish abundance. And the only thing that would keep it from expressing in lavish abundance is your resistance to it. That's the only thing that would stop it. And so it is the part of, in my opinion, any spiritual study worth its salt is teaching you how to get yourself out of the way so that the Spirit may flow through you in the lavish abundance that it is accustomed to and that it wants to flow through you. And this is why gratitude matters, is that it begins to get you out of the way and allow God to come through you in a more robust and potent way. So feelings determine our frequency. Now, I think this is powerful. I think this is something to really kind of latch onto, because figures on an income statement don't determine wealth. If you're measuring your wealth by looking at your bank balance, one, you'll never measure up, because there's always going to be somebody with more money and always somebody with less money. There's a line in a Robin Thicke song, may not be his, he may not have made it up, but it's in his song. You can be rich when you're poor and poor when you're rich. And it's the truly wealthy person recognizes that all her needs are met in lavish abundance. All her needs are met in lavish abundance. And the mental state of the truly wealthy person keeps her in right relationship with the universe. So the heart and the mind remain eternally receptive to absolute good. So-called negative appearances do not move her, because she knows that all is well no matter what appears. Now, here's the thing. People who are not born believing themselves to be poor. You got to be taught that you are poor. You have to be taught to look at external conditions as indicators of your level of wealth. And you know this. If you have seen someone who has, grown up, or you see them on TV, they say, you know, we never had anything, but we never thought of ourselves as poor. It's not natural to think of yourself as poor. Just like you have to be taught to hate, you got to be taught to see yourself as not having. You have to be taught to see yourself as not having. And then once you accept that, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then it just becomes the way that you see yourself. So the wealth is an inner realization that every need I have is met. And the inner realization, our outer lives reflect the inner realization. So when there's this period of time between which we have accepted that we are wealthy and it pressing out into expression in our lives. And that's the faith walk. That's the faith walk, is that gap between knowing it in mind until it expresses in the body. Most people can't make that walk. They want outer evidence to prove to them an inner reality. And it will never work that way, because outer evidence changes. Countries change. People come to power that can impact your livelihood. And if you base your wealth on outer indicators, those outer indicators can shift. And so you must come to know yourself as wealthy no matter what. And when you know yourself as wealthy no matter what, then ideas for expressing that wealth will come about. And so it's not about, do you have 50 cars, or do you have more than one home to live in, or how many clothes do you have in your closet? You can have a boatload of clothes and still be poor, because it's about what's happening up here. It's about what's happening in your mind. And true wealth understands that every need is met and there's nothing that I am lacking. I have everything. I have everything. So feelings determine our frequency. We each vibrate at a frequency. Everybody, and you know this. We talked about this last week. You have gone in someone's home, or you have gotten in and walked into someone's space, and you could feel their energy. It's almost like a vibration, and you can feel when you walk into a space and the energy is negative. It's something that it makes you take notice. You walk in and you're like, oh, what's going on in here? I remember I was hanging out with a friend of mine who's a really sensitive person. He's a musician, very sensitive person. And we were visiting a friend, and we walked into the person, someone I knew, and we walked in the person's home, and he said he wouldn't eat the food there because for him, the energy was not right in the room. It was like, no, this food might taste good. This might be some greens, some cornbread, and was that some greens, some cornbread, some gumbo. But I'm not eating this food because this energy, I can't take this into my body because this energy is not right. This energy is not what I'm meant to be a part of. So what determines that frequency that we vibrate at is what we feel. Our feelings determine the vibration. And so you can walk into a space where someone is at a very low vibration, that almost like they have a low-grade depression. They may not be clinically depressed. No doctor may look at them and call them depressed, but they're just walking around with this palpable sadness, and you can feel it in them and on them, right? And so that what's determining that frequency is the feeling. Constance says, I can't say that enough. It is truly a mantra for me. My every need is met, and I always have more than enough. I will go to the store with $20 and the receipt will be $19.96, proving to me that I always have more than enough. Yes, 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 yes. Attitude. It's the feeling. And so Joseph Murphy, this quote is from him. The feeling of wealth produces wealth. The feeling of poverty produces poverty. And somebody may say, no, 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 no. It's the policies of the government, right? It's what they're doing with our tax dollars. No. Let me see if I can try to encapsulate how this works. How you feel determines what you see. And so though opportunity may be all around you, you can't see it because you're in a vibration of limit, of lack, of not having enough. There may be, first of all, opportunity is everywhere. Opportunity is everywhere, evenly present. There are no more opportunities in a recession than there are in a depression, than there are in a boom time. Opportunity is everywhere, evenly present. Our ability to see the opportunity is a function of where we're vibrating. Just like they always have a statistic that X number of businesses were started in a depression, or X number of businesses were started in a recession. But what they're really saying is that the environment is not what's important. What's important is the environment in your head. And the environment in your head is a function of the vibration, the vibratory frequency that you're operating at. Where are you flowing? This is why Paul says, whatever is good, whatever is pure, I'm butchering the verse, but you know it. Whatever is good, whatever is honorable, if there's anything of good report, think on these things. Because thoughts give birth to feelings. And if you think positive thoughts, you give birth to positive feelings, and the positive feelings control the frequency, which then controls what you see and notice, which then controls what you have the ability to take advantage of, but it also controls what you do. And so in any situation, we often think that the course of action that we are taking is the only course of action that could be taken, or one of a few courses of action that could be taken. But in truth, there are an infinite number of courses of action that could be taken. And the course of action that we take is controlled by the level at which we vibrate. And so someone could put the best policy together that benefits you, your family, your neighbors, and everybody you know. And though all of these opportunities are laid at your feet, the level at which you are vibrating will keep you from being able to take advantage of it. And vice versa. Somebody could turn every policy against you, hurt you, harm you, try to control your livelihood. And the level at which you vibrate will control what you see and how you view the situation and the opportunities that you're able to take advantage of. Someone to study is George Washington Carver. Some hateful, heinous, awful, really bad stuff happened to this dude. And yet, he connected and bonded with the Creator and asked for the secrets of the peanut. And even in the most oppressive environment, demonstrated some of the greatest abundance that you ever want to see. It is not the circumstances. You may not be able to change government policy. That has nothing to do with your ability to express abundance right where you are. You're not waiting for outer conditions to change in order for you to express the abundance in your heart. And so this is work, because we're conditioned to pay attention to outer circumstances as the indicator, but the indicator is the weather that's happening inside of us. What's it like? Is it sunny inside your heart? Is it stormy? Is it peaceful, calm? What's it like inside your heart? If we all camped out inside your heart, would we need umbrellas? Would we need rain slickers? You know, would we need to dodge lightning? What's happening in your heart? Because that's what's determining what you're able to take advantage of. You can be rich when you're poor, poor when you're rich. Don't be fooled by the outer picture. The outer picture is immaterial. The outer picture really don't mean anything. One of the things that she identifies in chapter 4 are the things that keep us from feeling wealthy. So I said this before, that feeling wealthy is your natural state. There's not a baby on the planet that was born feeling poor. Feeling wealthy and cared for and taken care of is your natural state. Even babies in a bad situation believe that they are being cared for. Even babies in a bad situation believe they are being cared for. They believe their needs can be met because they're constantly looking for their needs to be met. Always, they're constantly looking for their needs to be met. And they have an expectation that they're going to be met. And they cry until that expectation is fulfilled. However it's fulfilled, even if it's fulfilled with junk food, they cry until it is fulfilled. There is the expectation that the need is going to be met. So there are 4 kind of primary ways that we block this natural understanding that we are cared for. The first is the belief that we are somehow in an indifferent universe, that God is unconcerned with what is going on in your life. And nothing in nature proves that. Every creation is provided for in abundant measure. You can look at how the trees are cared for, how the flowers are cared for. You can look at how everything is cared for. And when you do, and then you really realize that you are a part of the universe as much as any tree, any lion, any insect, any bird, then what you realize is, no, God is on my side. That the universe is biased toward my success. It has a vested interest in my success, and it wants to support my expansion. Now, how do I know this, right? I was talking to somebody last week, and I was just kind of thinking about this whole blanket thing, thinking about some stuff that's going on in my own life, and things that my problems. And what I realized was that the degree to which I'm consumed with my problems is the degree to which I'm unavailable to figure out how to get 250 blankets. The degree to which I'm consumed with my own problems is to the same degree that I am consumed, that I'm unable to hear how to draw 250 blankets. The clearer I am, the less stressed I am, the better able I am to be a blessing to somebody else. So the spirit needs me happy, healthy, whole, complete in my mind in order to go be a blessing for somebody else who may not yet be at that level of consciousness. So does God want you to be rich? Yes. That doesn't mean Bentley. That doesn't mean Rolls Royce. That doesn't mean house on a hill and all that other stuff. Because the rich is about a state of consciousness where you're not worried about where your next meal is going to come from. You're not worried about how your bills are going to be paid. Will I have enough for the house? All that stress, right? That doesn't profit God. There's no profit in that. Because the degree to which you are consumed with that mess is the degree to which you are not available to help whom you are called to serve. And so what I really got was like, wait, I got to get my head wrapped tight so that somebody's child will have a blanket. And that really hit me in my soul, because this building is a really old building, and it has heat, but it don't heat like I heat it to heat. So I get cold easily. So I was sitting here, I'm indoors, and I had a scarf on, I had my jacket on, I'm like wrapped up like an Eskimo. And it hit me that as bad as this is, I could go turn the heat on upstairs, right? I really could. I go turn the heat up. Or I can go somewhere where I can be warm. And these families who we have been called to share with, that's not their reality. That's not their reality. If they're cold on a Friday night and it's 2 a.m. in the morning, deal with it. And so it really hit me. And it was like, I got to do everything I can to get these blankets. And so I get that the spirit needs me in a right frame of mind, which means that a right frame of mind means all my needs are met. That's how I get in the right frame of mind. I can't be in a right frame of mind and I don't know how the rent is going to be paid. I can't get in a right frame of mind and I don't know where my next meal is going to come from. I'm too concerned with getting those needs met. So yes, the spirit wants you to be rich. Wants you to be rich. Wants you to be rich. The belief that there's scarcity and lack. Now that messes up a whole lot of people, because we have this idea. That's part of what's going on in the U.S. right now, or really around the world. This belief that there's not enough, that somehow I don't have a job because of these immigrants, or I don't have a job because of these minorities, or I don't, whatever, right? Or I don't have my rights because of these racist people. Or there is no scarcity or lack anywhere on the planet. There is no scarcity or lack anywhere on the planet. Right where you are, there is something where you are that if paid attention to, will become the seed for your abundance and your overcoming. I shared the story, this is a while ago now, I can't even begin to tell you what broadcast it was, but I shared the story with you of this Nigerian woman who went home to Nigeria to start a business. And there's a plant called the water hyacinth that grows and was actually a bane. It was actually called the devil's plant because it clogged up the waterways and it impacted commerce. And the people saw it as the reason they were poor because it created all of these, it grew with such great abundance that it created all of these blockages to the flow of water and the fish. So it impacted the economy in a really heavy way, a negative way. And this woman goes back home, sees this plant that she had been raised to believe. She'd been educated in the US, went back home, sees this plant that she and everybody else had been raised to believe was the devil's plant, was interfering with their prosperity. And the idea occurs to her to look at the plant differently. And then, and I'm gonna cut to the chase. The plant that was the bane of everybody's existence, she figured out a way to turn it into a profitable industry, which then created jobs, which then brought income into the area and transformed the landscape of the area. Same plant. So we have this idea that no, it's not bamboo. The plant is called the water hyacinth, and she did fashion it into products like lamps and shades and tissue boxes and other goods like that they then retail outside of the country, and it becomes out of the community, and it becomes an export from that community. My point being is that right where you are, there is something that you have that will enable you to meet your needs in lavish abundance, and not just be a blessing for you, but be a blessing for everybody else around you. So this idea that there are places where there's a famine, no, there's a lack of consciousness, but there's not a famine. That might sound harsh. Write the evil comments in the YouTube comments. I'll deal with it. The idea that we're separate, that keeps us from feeling abundant. That somebody can keep something from you, that we're not connected to one another. This blocks our ability to feel wealthy. The belief that our purpose in life is to value things that just don't matter. That's really the belief that our purpose is to value the cars that we have and the clothes that we have and all of these things that have no intrinsic value, that do not add to your life in any kind of way. And it blocks your ability to feel wealthy, because if you have it, then you believe that it gives you some kind of status. And so you're constantly looking at the world from the viewpoint that somebody else is less than because they don't have it. Or you don't have it and you think that your life is not good because you don't have it. And so you're constantly living either in pursuit of it or in resentment towards it, right? You've seen people that they're derisive toward people with wealth, or they're derisive toward others who might be, heavier consumers. And anything that makes you derisive toward any human being, watch it. Constance says, oh, good Lord, the coin in the fish's mouth. Yes, there's fish everywhere, evenly present. And they are there for you to take, for you to enjoy. So one of the things that she talks about, and this is where I got excited with this text, and we're gonna run over a little bit tonight, so y'all just bear with me. This is where I got excited. Every teacher, I've been in this teaching now for almost 20 years actually, in 2017. This teaching, everyone teaches you that it's the feeling that gets the blessing. If you go look at Reverend Ike, it's the feeling, you have to feel the abundance, right? Anyway, Neville Goddard, he tells you, bring it in with like sensory vividness, right? This is how you do it. That when you imagine yourself wherever it is that you are, you do it with all the live, in animation that you can. Joseph Murphy, the feeling of wealth produces wealth. The feeling of poverty produces poverty. Reverend Johnny, same thing. Reverend Della, I remember sitting in her room. When I would come to her house, she'd be in her bedroom, and I would sit on the edge of her bed. And I remember her sitting there talking, and she was saying, it's this feeling thing. And, and she would just say, you just have to like feel it. She was trying to demonstrate to me like this feeling, and I'm sitting there like, okay, all right, it's the feeling. And I've taught it. It's the feeling that gets the blessing. The feeling gets the blessing. But nobody tells you how. Right? It's the feeling that gets the blessing. Okay, how do I drum up this feeling? Like, what does that look like? Do I jump up and down? Do I like shout? Do I do what Tony Robbins does and, clap really loud and change your state? What if that's not my personality? What if I'm not that person that wants to like jump up and down? Can I not rev up the feeling if I can't jump up and down? What if I'm not an excitable person? And so that's what got me excited about this chapter, because she gives you a 5-step how of how you rev up the feeling inside of you. How do you rev up? How do you stir up, as Paul says, stir up the gift? How do you stir up the gift of God inside of you? And I'm going to give you 5 ways, not 10, 5 ways of how you stir up the gift. And this is what's exciting, because if you do this and persist with it, you will begin to stir up the inner wealth that moves you to that state of peace. And if what is in your heart is to express millions, then so be it. And if what is in your heart is simply just to express enough money to meet your needs, then so be it. But this is how you feel wealthy. How do you feel? That was a question on my heart, even before this lesson, is how do you feel wealthy? Because here's the thing, how do you feel wealthy when the mail starts changing colors? Like it comes in and it's in a white envelope, right? And then it turns a shade pink, and then it turns another shade red, like how do you feel wealthy when the mail starts changing colors? Or how do you feel wealthy when, you need something for your child and it's important and you really want to give it and that it would be great for their well-being and the means are just not there? How do you feel wealthy in those situations? So that's why this really, really got me excited, because this is how you do it. Okay, number 1. Invest. No, okay, I should have given this a little setup. She calls these different types of capital. Invest in your alchemic capital. So alchemy is where this comes from. Invest in your alchemic capital. And this is taken directly from chapter 5. And this alchemic capital, this is your ability to change, right? This is your ability to change. And you can do an inner change or you can do an outer change. And that's the exciting part. The outer change, it's little things that'll lift your energy. You can add a little color to your hair. You can put on a bright nail polish. You can bring in a splash of color to your daily wardrobe. You can start an exercise regimen that takes off several inches and plenty of pounds. And this is excellent medicine if you find yourself in a rut. Something that I learned from Reggie Bythewood, that he taught me. He said that when you feel really down, like depressed down, that's when you need to put on your best clothes, get dressed up, put on your best suit, because the last thing you want to do is feel bad and walk past a mirror and look as bad as you feel. And so it's a slight thing, but it lifts your vibration. That when you put on your best, you can't but feel good because you look good. You look clean as a board of health. And so when you feel down, it is not about impressing anybody outwardly. It's about impressing your own subconscious mind. Don't let your image support with the vibration that you're moving in. Do what you can to shift the way that you feel. That's a really slight interchange. But this is the part that I love, because you guys have heard me talk about the slight edge with Jeff Olson. And with the slight edge, what's amazing about that is that it's the little things that you do on a daily basis that make the difference. And if you will get a non-negotiable, like One of my non-negotiables is that I will read some type of personal development book, at least for maybe 10 minutes during the day, at least. And sometimes I can get to do more. Sometimes 10 minutes is all I can put in. But the thing is that it grows exponentially. In the moment, it looks linear. But in actuality, it grows over time and it begins to build towards something. And so we have the ability to change ourselves. And so this is a capital that we have. It shifts our vibration. Again, something simple. Adding a splash of color, changing the color of our hair. These are outer ones. But then you can also play the long game and begin to make some of those inner changes, creating some daily non-negotiables that over time are going to add up to huge seismic shifts in your character. Constance says, that's funny. Didn't know what you meant. Male changing color. Now I know. Abraham, change your conversation, change the room you're in, change the way you look, change your clothes, do something different. That's it. Do something different. The second thing you can do is to invest in your spiritual capital. Now, you guys know that I believe that your relationship with God is your single most important relationship. Whatever you truly believe about God is what you actually experience in life. Whatever you truly believe about God is what you actually experience in life. Now, I want to say this because someone left a comment, and I think it came through, and they said, God doesn't exist. Well, okay. So here's the thing. You don't have to call it God. As human beings, we are hardwired for belief. Everybody believes in something. You may call it nature, you may call it whatever, but you believe something about the way that this universe works. You might believe that it's a dog-eat-dog world. You might believe that the universe is unfair, that only certain people get ahead and not others. You may believe that it's every person out for himself. Whatever it is, that's what you believe about God. Not what you say you believe, but what you actually believe. There are lots of people who are wearing a religious hat who will tell you God is good all the time. I would urge you to check their lives. Does their lives look like that? Does their life look like that? Because your life is a witness, an unfailing witness to what you actually believe about God. It is an unfailing witness. And so, and again, God is just a religious term. The creator has no name. These names are human constructs. These are things that we made up so that we could talk about this energy intelligence that indwells each of us. Whatever it is that you believe about the universe, that's what you believe about God or the universe or whatever. And so there is no such thing as an atheist. They're simply people who don't believe the God concept that they have heard. Of all the concepts that they have heard from their mom, from their dad, things that they have read, whatever, or things that they pondered themselves. And they said, I don't believe any of those things. Fine, reject those God concepts. You still have a God concept. You still have a concept of how this universe works. And that concept is your God. And that's why you want to always check your words. Always check your words, because you want to be sure that what you are saying is what you are living. That you're not just spouting God is good all the time, and then your life is nowhere near looking like that. That there has to be this congruency between what you say and what you do. And so your spiritual capital is taking that time to find out, what do I really believe? Because I say that I believe that God is lavish abundance. And does my life look like that? Does my life reflect that? And if it doesn't, then where's the disconnect? Because that means I've got some beliefs that I need to release so that I may reflect the lavish abundance that I say God is. Is that making sense? Is that landing with you guys? Constance says, call it what you want, but there is something breathing you and me. Yes. Yes. Yeah, you call it what you want, but there is something breathing you and me. And I call it God, but you may call it life. You may call it the life force. You may call it the great animator. You call it whatever you want to, but there is something breathing us, breathing itself as us. Number 3, invest in your creative capital. Now, this I want to read from the book because I thought this was such a powerful story. This is where you find what makes you unique and happy. And I talked about this earlier where I said, we each have something that makes our soul sing. For me, it is about teaching. That teaching makes my soul sing. It don't really matter what I'm teaching. And one day I'm going to do this. I could teach the phone book and I would still have the same thrill that I have doing this. Even though this is my wheelhouse and this is what I love to teach and the conversation I love to have, honey, I could find the phone book because it's just the way that my mind works. I would find out why the columns are the way that they are and why the names are presented the way they are and all of that. And it would be the most interesting lesson. And you'd be like, wow, I did not know all that about the phone book. So it is you have to find that thing that makes your soul sing. And everybody has that thing. Everybody has that thing that makes their soul sing. And it's the thing that makes you want to go all in. So she tells the story of Kevin Costner, and she says, follow what excites you most, what most excites you. I'm reading page 40. Follow what most excites you, and the right people, the right materials, the right opportunities will show up. Dances with Wolves, Black or White, and Bull Durham are just a few films I've loved because a human named Kevin Costner followed his beeps. She calls beeps like when you hear that pulse, that the spirit is saying, this is for you. One day when he was a senior at Cal State Fullerton, he was sitting in an accounting class, flipping through the college newspaper. Until that point, his academic career had been rather, lackluster. He recognized he wasn't that motivated and, in fact, had no idea what he wanted to do with the business degree he was pursuing, mostly because, what else was he going to do after graduating from high school? He happened to notice an ad in the back of a college newspaper. The drama department was auditioning for the play Rumpelstiltskin. Kevin had never acted. He was a baseball player and sang in the church choir. But to his surprise, the hair on the back of his neck stood up. He knew with passion he'd never felt before that he was going to be in that audition. I closed the paper and sat there listening to the teacher drone on and on, but I was excited in a way I hadn't been since I started college. I was excited the way a kid is excited, he said. On the way to the audition, the accelerator pedal on his pickup got stuck, causing it to barrel down the highway at 80 miles an hour. He felt sure he was going to crash into something and die, kill someone, or maybe both. Luckily, he found the presence of mind to throw the clutch into neutral, turn off the ignition, and let it roll, screeching all the way to the side of the road. Kevin jumped out of the car, leaped over the fence, and ran the rest of the way to the audition. I'd love to tell you his valiant bravery won him the part, but I can't. As he says, I didn't have any skill. I wasn't any good. But his imagination began to burn with possibilities. He became jump up and down excited. He had found his creative capital. I didn't care to improve in accounting, he says, but when I found acting, I knew it was something I could care about, something I wanted to learn. And so the thing that is your creative capital, the place where you can pour yourself into, it's the place where you want to be better, where you put forth the effort to improve. That might be cooking for you. That might be writing for you. That might be inventing stuff for you. I don't know. Wherever that is, that might be starting a business. Wherever it is that you want to improve, meaning it's not pulling teeth for you to do better. You willingly go and seek out the information that will make you better. That's where your gift is. That's where your destiny is. And so when you begin to give yourself over to that, it raises your energy, your vibration. It just makes you better. I pay attention to articles that talk about teaching tips and that talk about how you educate people and how to communicate. I listen for conversations on how to teach better. You know, the places where you want to improve, that's where your creative capital is. And that's where you want to begin to make an investment. Number 4, invest your adventure capital. Okay, everything you experience influences how you express the light within. And every new experience opens up a new dimension in you. And so the question is, what can you do today and every day to include a little adventure in your life? Every day. And it works this way. That what happens is that the experience you have changes the thoughts that you think, or it expands the thoughts that you think. If you go to like a museum, right? If you go to like, I thought this trip was for Jordan, but it really was for me as well. We went to the Getty Center, and the Getty Center, if you've been to it, it's just breathtaking. I mean, just so much beauty across, I mean, just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And what happens when you go to these places, that they impact the thoughts that you think. You think things that you never would have thought before because you're just in a new environment. Those thoughts give birth to different feelings. Those feelings and thoughts then influence different words that you speak. It also influences the actions that you take. And the actions that you take determine the destiny that you're headed towards. And so as you begin to introduce new things to yourself, you literally shake up your world. And it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit. But if you will persist over time, every day doing just something a little different, or maybe you do it once a week. Once a week, I do something I've never done before. Whatever your discipline is going to be. You will literally begin to stir up the gift that is inside of you. You begin to change the way that you think. You begin to change the things that you say. You begin to change the way that you feel. And you begin to change the things that you do. And when you change the things that you do, you change forever. You change forever. You change your destiny. And so that's why this is a type of capital that you have. And you want to begin to invest in it. And so you can set something where you say, oh, once a month, I'm going to do something different. Once a month, I'm going to go somewhere that I've never been before. And I'm going to, it's a staycation. I'm not spending a whole lot of money, but maybe I'll go see a new trail, or maybe I'll go look at houses in a neighborhood I've never been in, or maybe I'll go to this restaurant that I've never visited before, or whatever. There, right where you are, there is plenty to explore. There's plenty to touch and see, taste and see, and experience that will begin to shift you in little ways. And if you will persist in it over time, character will change. And lastly, invest your social capital. Friends matter. There is a study that Harvard University did called the Harvard Study of Adult Development, and it found that the single biggest determinant of health at 80 is the quality of your relationships. The single biggest determinant of health at 80 is the quality of your relationships. They studied 724 men, only men, and they studied them over a period of 75 years. That we know it's the longest happiness study ever done. And what they wanted to do was to look at the choices that these men made and look at the correlations between the types of lives that they lived and then the kinds of octogenarians, 80-year-olds that they became. And there's a TED talk on this. Richard Dallinger, I think, is the person who gives the talk, and I think he's the head of the department that conducted the study at Harvard. And what they found whether the person was poor or rich, because they had everybody on the spectrum, they wanted to kind of get a breadth of it, was that the people who had the best relationships had the greatest health, meaning that they could tie brain decline to the quality of the relationships that people enjoyed in their lives. Even if people were in relationships where they were, say, bickering back and forth, but they felt like they had a purpose in that relationship, that they meant something to that person, and those people, that whoever they were in relationship with, counted on them, that their brains declined less than someone who felt like their lives were useless. And so the ultimate conclusion of this, several decades long study is that the good life is built on good relationships. So you need a friend. You need a friend, that people matter. And not to take anything from you pet lovers out there. I don't want y'all fussing at me. But I always cringe when I hear people say, I like animals better than I like people, because you're a person. And as much as your dog loves you, your dog cannot rent you a house. As much as your cat adores you, your cat cannot feed you. So our relationships matter. And it is important that we learn how to get into good relationship with one another. How to participate in relationships in a way that are rewarding for us. It's worth it to figure that out. According to this Harvard study, your health depends on it. So those are the 5 ways that if you will begin to invest in those 5 ways in your life, that you will begin to drum up the feeling of wealth inside of you. And as Joseph Murphy says, it's the feeling of wealth that produces wealth. It's the feeling of wealth that produces wealth. And I just gave you, courtesy of Pam Grout, the 5 ways that you can drum up the feeling of wealth inside of you. And so now it's your turn. What are those 5 ways? What is one thing that you can do in each of those 5 areas that we just outlined that will stir up the gift inside of you? How can you invest in your ability to change? Is there something simple that you can do that will shift you externally? Maybe change your hair color or add a splash of color to your wardrobe. Your spiritual capital. Is there something that you can do to rack up your spiritual capital? Your adventure capital, your social capital. What are some ways? Your creative capital. What are those ways that you can invest? Just one thing, and you want to be specific. So my question is, do you have a better understanding of how to cultivate an inner feeling of wealth? And I hope this was helpful, because this really was a lesson for me, was a game changer to really come to an awareness of how to develop the feeling of wealth. And then I encourage you to continue taking the 21-day challenge with UpChurch. Post your gratitude at upchurch.org/gratitude. And finally, leave a comment on this YouTube video for this lesson and name one thing in each area of capital that you're going to invest. And be specific. What is one thing that you're going to do in each of these 5 areas? Questions? Constance says, guess I'll take the gray out. Girl, me and you both. Me and my little girlfriends. Alita says, I will cut my hair off.
Now that's drastic, cutting all the hair off.
I ain't gonna make that change, Alita.
Me neither.
Any questions? I'm so grateful for this lesson. She just really, I was already loving the book, but when she laid that out and when I really realized what it was, I was like, you could have said that. Della, you could have said that. But it wasn't. It was for Pam Grout to say that this is how you cultivate that feeling of wealth when the mail is changing colors, when you can't get that thing for your family that you want to get, when you want to be able to do something, but it feels like you cannot. It's like, wait, I got 5 areas I can go do something to drum up the feeling of wealth, to drum up the energy of wealth. All right, y'all are speechless. So next week, we're going to finish the book. It's a lot of chapters, but it goes fast. So it's the rest of the book, which is basically all these different ways that you can express gratitude. And so it's just different party games. And so it's kind of going to be a summation of all the stuff that we've talked about. Constance says, I go read Catherine Ponder books. Yes. Excellent, excellent books to read. All right. Well, either this lesson landed or it did not. But either way, I'm excited because I know how to drum up the wealth inside of me. Oh, thank you, Constance. She said we don't want to end. Me neither. But Jordan would be like, where is my mommy? I need you to come get me. So thank you, guys. So next week is our last class before the Christmas break. We'll take 2 weeks off, and then we will be back on January 5th. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you. I got to get a new cord this week. I'll figure out where to go get that. Have an absolutely marvelous evening. Take care. Yay.